Shalom, shalom, yasha Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called A Double-Minded Man is Unstable. All right? A double-minded man is unstable. All right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right, so you got another, great example of Bishop Nathaniel, and his double-mindedness. All right, the ways throughout the year he continues to change up his doctrine. All right, and the scriptures clearly tell you, James 1:8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Right, I've been watching brothers' videos, and all the receipts of how he jumps from one thing, talking about Revelation 13 and 16 and 17. He talks about the mark, right? Let's get it. Revelation 13 and verse number 16 and 17. It says that he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right, and we know that mark is charagma, right? Or like one of his minions that read it, what did they say? Charagma, and he corrected him. No, it's charagma, right? So he knows. All right, let's look it up. Right, mark. The word for mark there is charagma, right? A stamp, imprinted mark, a mark stamped on the forehead, the mark branded upon horses, thing carved, right? Sculpture. All right, and when you go, what is that? The root word, right? Karax, right? It says a pail, a stake. It says, you have a stake and you drive it through something, you have a wooden stake, right? That's a physical thing. All right. It says pails between which earth, stones, trees, and timbers are heaped and packed together. All right. So, it's a physical thing. All right. But you have double-minded Nate, he's changed it up so many times, and brother's got so many beautiful receipts on it, going into, an embargo, going into, what is it, spiritual, and I believe it's so many, right? It's not talking about, man, right? Literally talking about it's not going into man selling, but it's like nations and embargo, like this different things, right? But it clearly says in 17 that no man might buy or sell save he that had a mark. And we know that this is physical. It's the digital, right? The RFID chip. All right. But the double-mindedness of this man, and he's causing many to be deceived. All right. What's that? 1 Timothy 4, verse number 1. It says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. All right. And that's, that is exactly, what he is doing. All right. The scriptures don't lie. All right. Let's see. evil spirits, right? The word is dahamonian, right? Evil spirits, right? Ministers of the devil, right? And that's where he's coming in. That's the spirit that he's coming in. All right. He's coming in this falsehood, right? It says verse 2, it says speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. And that's what he's doing to his people, right? With the, he does the sound effects and that's right. And people are like, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, no. He did the bomb, sound effects. So it's got to be right. That's what we have going on right here. All right. And that's that double-mindedness. All right. And Yahawashi talked about, this type of man, says in the book of Matthew, right, 15 and verse number 14, and it says, Matthew chapter 15 verse 14, it says, let them alone, they be blind, leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. All right, and that ditch is going to be that MOTB, right? Getting that, right? Getting in line, getting it, and ultimately destruction. All right, and hey, Bahasham is using Nate, because remember, this is not for the many. This is only for the elect, right? The few. Okay, so and his congregation is many, so the Lord is using him to deceive many. All right. That many will fall, right? It tells you 2/3 of our people are gonna die here in Babylon, in America. Okay, so you need folks like him out here, that are gonna lead those that Yahawah doesn't want away. Okay, but those, this is exactly what's going on, right? He's changing his doctrine up every so often. All right, seem like once in every blue moon. All right, Ephesians, or should we say full moon, right, or new moon, how they say it, Salakia. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse number 14. It says, verse number 13, right? It says, till we all come into the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of the Most High, unto the perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they do lie in wait to deceive. And that's what they're doing, right? Because this is just, the IUS is just a spinoff of the Christian church, man. The wacky-tacky Christian church, right? Everything they do, right? From that money grab, right? To, eating the bread and wine. I know they used to do that. I don't know if they still do it anymore. They used to do that every Sabbath, right? But it's that same, mindset, and the double-mindedness, of constantly have to change your doctrine. Why? Because it's not airtight, right? And it's not the truth at the end of the day. All right. And that's the thing. A lot of people get into that, most people, start off learning, and then they see that this is off and they go somewhere else. I know I did, when, you first came in, you see all that and they got all this, yeah, that's right. You seeing all that. And then all I had to do was Google something. I just Googled what is the new moon? And it was just like, damn, I'm out of here, But this is the double-mindedness, of this guy, right? Now he sat there and he talked about the during the crucifixion, right? And he said that it was I believe he said it was a lunar eclipse. Well, then that can't happen, that was it had to be on a full moon, right? So that just shows you, and that just tears up his whole the new moon is the full moon. All right, because remember, it's 2 weeks after the new moon, right? The Passover, right? It's usually like 15 days after. All right. So 15 days after the new moon, which is the dark moon, is what? The full moon. All right. So it everything is just, you can poke holes in all this stuff, right? You don't know the true names, right? But you did a whole video, breaking down the true names of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Then all of a sudden you don't know it. We don't know it now, right? And the scriptures tell you, in the book of Romans, right? Romans 16 and verse number 17, it says, "Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause division of offenses contrary to the doctrine, which ye have learned, and avoid them." All right? And that's what you should be doing, right? You gotta, people need to be running, right? When they see this, right? And that's how a lot of those people over there, they're not like the Church of Berea, right? They're not getting in there and like, hey, wait, hold on. This ain't what this is. This is not what this is. Right? They're not going in there and searching the scriptures to see whether the things are true. They hear the sound effects. They hear you gotta, the music and the whole, and they get caught off with that. Right? This stuff, this truth doesn't need all that fancy stuff. Right? All it needs is the word. The word is what's going to, to edify, right? All the other fancy gimmicks and all that stuff, you can keep, man, and this is, these are just perfect examples, and, like I say, once again, it's just the same old, right? But the scriptures tell you that these things were going to happen in these last days, and we see them playing out. All right. So I just wanted to do this quick lesson, right? Lord's will. This is edifying. Matter of fact, Salakia, let me look this up real quick. He's, how he's saying you don't have to go into the Greek and do all these different things to look it up. Let's see what this word mark means, right? Scopeo, right? To look at, to observe, right? To mark, to look to take heed to thyself. You see, that's not the same as the other mark in Revelation 13 and 16, karagma, which is a physical thing. This is to look at something, like watch that person, because, they're unstable. Watch that person, keep an eye on them, because they're not right. And that's what the men and the elder apostles on down, that's what they're doing, right? They're scopeo, they're watching him, right? And his movements, and they're pointing it out. Nope, that's wrong, and getting on him. All right. So, like I said, just a double-minded man, the scriptures tell you that is unstable in all his ways. All right. So I just wanted to do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying. Right. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, peace and blessings to the elect, the 12 tribes scattered abroad, a mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Right, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Right, another mighty shalom to all you Akim, right, and all of those of the elect out there. Right, keep watching, endure sound doctrine. All right, keep enduring. Right, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of these times, where everybody else is going to be waxing worse and worse. And fall into, seducing spirits. You got to stay strong in the faith of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi in this real wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in these last days. All right. And with that, I'll say shalom.